I'm trying to figure out who in the hell did you really raise? Some of y'all.
As a borderline Gen X millennial born in 1984, I'll add my 2 cents to this very thoughtful discussion that has already received a lot of very thought-provoking videos. You know, you're not entitled to my free time to help you watch your kids. You're the one who decided to have those kids. But at the same time, there is reasonably an implicit agreement, like generation by generation. Like it's been assumed that when you have kids, your parents are going to help you with your kids, you know, because that's just how it's always been. And so I think the solution is that if you choose to be a parent, and I'll say this from the Gen X perspective, I chose to be a parent. And so I understand that I am implicitly signing up to watch my grandkids unless I state otherwise. You know, like the mental and
I actually think it's very unfair that boomer parents or older Gen X parents are not stepping up to help watch their grandkids, because it's like that a lot of times we hear like that immigrant mentality. You feel like, oh, you made it over here, now let's shut the door. You got the benefit, now let's shut the door. Just like Elon Musk. Elon Musk has created his riches using government funds.
Now nobody else
I'm sorry, U.S. government funds. And it's like, but now you want to shut everybody else off from getting government funds. So I really don't understand the position that these grandparents are taking, where, I mean, unless you're working, I still get it if you're still working. Actually, no, I don't. Because my grandma was still working. Literally, my grandma was like, has driven like 18-wheelers, hot shot, school buses. She's literally been in logistics my entire, well, yeah, I guess her entire life too, whatever, before she died. But I literally would be in the car or in the truck with my grandma riding hot shot. She was going to like drop off big industrial oil parts, like things like when you process oil, like that was her job. I was with her. So she could have said, "No, Mitzi, I can't watch Aaron." You know what I mean? But she didn't. And but I also think that has something to do with how she was raised, because people also pitched in for her to be raised. You know what I mean? Especially because her mother died early. You know, like my girl was like 9. So she was also the youngest. So, you know, the other kids, you lived on a farm in the country, you know, the other kids look after the young ones. But anyway, I do think it's kind of selfish of these grandparents to have that position when you literally reaped the benefit of having your aunties, your uncles, your parents, and your grandparents. Because my great-grandma used to watch me too. You had all that help, but now it's your turn and your kid got a kid, and you got to have a life too all of a sudden.
You're going to be in a nursing home.
Economy today.
They're going to be in a nursing home.
Why would you not help watch
You ain't living with me.
I don't get it, because like they had everybody helping. Everybody helping. But now all of a sudden you can't help.
Listen, I do not hesitate to tell my mama, when this baby come, I'm not pregnant. Practicing.
Finally.
She's going to be watching the baby. I'm not saying that I'm not at all, but this baby going to be over here all the time.
It's the family's baby.
All the time.
I also think it's so like, I guess it does depend on how you were raised. I mean, I grew up predominantly with my mother. So when I had a kid and I said, listen, I'm going to take full responsibility of this child, I took that as full responsibility of this child, because a lot of the times my mom did everything. For a good period of my time, my grandmother disowned my mother while she had me and my sister. So for me, when I signed up to having a child, I never even expected help from my mom, although I know she would be there.
So that's a trauma thing.
It's not a trauma. It's just the reality is that I can't have a baby with expectations of being spoiled by having some other help. Because the reality is, if the new norm is this, the new norm is that you're not going to be able to retire as early as you want. The new norm is going to be you have to work longer. That means us having to be the millennials with these kids. When those kids now become parents, they're going to look at it the same way as us. Listen, I got to be more active. I can't expect my parent or my child's grandparent to be there as often or frequent. I think, honestly, we've been spoiled by the village mentality and the community mentality, so that's why we're having a struggle. But one thing that I always realized,
They were spoiled.
one thing I always realized growing up, there was a lot of kids, and I would never want this to be the case, but there's a lot of kids who are now adults who valued their grandparent more than their parent. And it's because their grandparent wasn't the second set of parent. It was the parent. And I would never want, and then my mom is a great mom and I love her to death, but I would never want my mom to be overshadowed, to be the overshadowing mother figure to our children. As much as I love my mom,
Can I
but
say something? I understand your perspective, but I also think family is very important. We share blood. We're family. And one thing that other races do is look out for each other. Even when it comes to politics. Oh, like, for example, let's just give this example of LeBron. That's my son. I don't care if he trash. Like, I'm putting him in there.
but that's the problem
it's
though,
family.
because
It doesn't matter. That's how politics works. That's how politics works. That's how family works. That's
But
how
look
those
at-
things
but look
work.
at how it's supposed
We're
to work.
abandoning
But
family.
look
Let me
at how
finish
he
real quick,
feels
Rico,
about it.
because I'll
I
let
think
you
we're
finish.
abandoning
We're abandoning
We're
it.
abandoning values.
We're
'cause our
abandoning
are different
values.
From
Yes,
our
that's true.
grandparents to what's going on now because of the economy.
Right.
Because we're actually worried about our own emotions.
Right.
We are seeking our own help to be better ourselves. As
Right.
opposed to our parents, they didn't do that.
Right.
So now that they have access to the same knowledge that we have, they take advantage of it. So I don't think it's
Yeah,
So it may help us
really think about
monitor.
it. I will be damned if I was 62 years old, working full time, and gotta watch a 4-fucking-year-old running around. I don't even
Somebody
have the
did it for
energy.
you.
Thank you.
Somebody did it for you.
No,
There
they
were
didn't.
sacrifices
It's
for
what I'm
family.
trying to tell you.
So for you personally, so this is a more of a personal
You're an
thing.
outlier. Like your situation is.
but what I-
But for
No,
me,
you
my
gotta
mom is
think-
successful because she had help.
But-
Lots of help. I want to be successful and I want my family to have my back so that I can be as
But they
successful.
have
And you don't
your
have to
back,
be in a
though.
nursing home.
You gotta-
That's it. If
They
you don't
have-
want to be in a nursing home, bro, help me because
But
at
the-
the end of the day, you will be getting your butt wiped by somebody who doesn't care about and getting ulcers because you didn't make sure that you babysat your grandkids.
There's a difference between help and then overextending.
You didn't have it, so
But
you
what I'm-
can't. Really
what I'm saying is wanting your parent to watch your kid every other weekend or every weekend like they are a joint custody parent
No.
is not realistic, right? That is not, especially in today. I'm not saying 2, 3, 4, 5 months your parent doesn't see your child. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But if you got 1 weekend a month out your parent, that should be suffice, right? Like that's how I look at it. And that's called help. Anything else is called parenting.
But for me, it's one hand washes the other.
I
I'm there for
actually
my
don't-
family 100%. So at the end of the day, it's one hand washes the other. Oh, you need these wooden things moved. Oh, you need the snow plowed. Oh, you need I just help my grandmother's plumbing. I make sure I look out for my grandma because I am appreciative. My son is with my grandmother and I am not worried. My son is with my grandma. He's going to have shea butter all over him when I get home. He's going to be in his pajamas. He's going to smell good. When I pick my son up, I be like, Dad, grandma, how you did that? She be humming him to sleep. He needs that old good love.
He only
Not
needs
the
it because
one
it
that's-
wasn't
that's-
passed down. So you gotta
Let
understand.
me finish, Rico. Damn, because we be letting you finish.
You don't.
At the end of the I've been quiet. It's been hard.
All right.
I'm working on myself.
I appreciate
But
it.
at the end of the day, like my grandmother gives my son a type of love, and she knows about kids so much that the things that I'm challenged with, because my son is like on the spectrum. So the things that I have challenges with, and I'm so overwhelmed and it's so hard, I depend on my grandmother and my mother to pick up the pieces where I don't know it all because they have the experience. So because you've had my cousins and my mom and everything, you know how to help me in certain areas, and I need that help. I need that support because I have gone mad. Like I've lost my mind at one point because I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to be doing?
And
And
are
you
a
need the
first-time
help.
mom,
I'm a
though.
first time
Yeah.
mom.
Are you
so
an only
if it wasn't
child?
for a while, I was the only child. But even outside of that, I
Yeah,
have
sister.
friends like one of my close friends. Y'all met her, Aisha Diaz. Her sister is Ashley, and at the end of the day, she had kids and needed freaking help.
No, so
She wasn't an only child. Mad siblings.
My point is, a lot of times family dynamics do start in the house. So does even parenting skills. So if you have a parent who is working a lot and you have younger siblings, you tend to automatically start a parenting process, not in full, but in part, at a younger age, right? So as you grow older, it kind of becomes almost like secondhand.
That was cute, but I was the oldest of about 12 siblings. So I was starting that process at my auntie's house. You
right,
see what I'm saying? I was always at my auntie's house.
But what I'm saying is, there's a bunch of different ways that you can learn how to parent before you become a first-time parent. And in all honesty, I feel like everybody's situation may be different.
Yes.
Your child might be more overwhelming than others, right? So and
Yes.
sometimes some kids are very much chill. Like there's kids that don't do or need as much, so it's an easier parenting process. But we also got to understand that I look at it as a 10-year, 12-year thing. Because once your child's hit 12, you don't really
For
need
you. So that's the thing about people today as well. You're not
that's
you know how many
wrong.
people have
What?
You know how many people have children that have like it's not as simple. Like some people's kids are not talking by a certain time. Some people's kids
I know a
don't
lot,
even
yeah.
walk. Some people's kids,
No, I'm
like
not talking
it's
about
a
the
lot
kids
of
part. I'm
no.
talking about the whole childhood, right? So
Right.
like half of their childhood, you really need to be very much there.
Mhm.
Once they hit that preteen, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, they're at a point where you can go out and they're going to be home.
It's not true because that's not everybody's experience with children. So even from when your kids are small, for example, me, if I don't get my son straight and yoke him up and get him right, I might be parenting him a little bit longer than you are. That's just that. There's people who literally have children who they can never stop parenting. So there are a lot of different situations, but because it's not your situation or your friend's situation, or you haven't really experienced that, that's not something that you can understand, and that's okay. But do any of you have any disabled cousins, whatever? Nothing. Right?
My nephew is autistic.
Okay, so I had also a cousin growing up that's been in a wheelchair, or he couldn't communicate. My aunt is still his full-time parent. He has to be catered to throughout the day. So again, everyone's experience parenting is different. And sometimes you just need that help, or sometimes you just need that break. Or, it's not that I was the only child, but when I went to go hang out with my cousins, I was the oldest of all my siblings. I was teaching them how to read. I was teaching them how to do everything. So it's not that
Plus two, plus two.
Right. My mom had help. And
You get the
But
answer.
I said if
Adam had
5 apples.
right.